on the Six Screens Telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, in exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society. Disney.
Hello, everyone. It's so good to see you all coming in, and thank you very much for staying with us tonight and wanting to spend some time with us here at the Six Screens Telenetwork. Well, we've got my wife Susan here with us.
Hello.
Say hello, Susan.
Hello, everyone.
Well, we've got some really good programming coming up here on JW World News. We'll give you a little news tonight as well, but we have got a person coming on here tonight. You know, we've been doing the program now for just about 20 years. And I have to tell you that we've had a lot of people come through here, many with very, very difficult stories to really grasp. So sometimes it's like so unbelievable, it becomes unbelievable. But we have got a woman coming on here tonight. In the 20 years of doing the program, this is one of the most extreme abuse stories in the Watchtower that I have ever heard. And she'll be coming on in about a half hour. She goes by her name, Sharon, and she's going to let us know what happened to her when she was a young girl, and also how she's even suffered for so many years, even as a grown woman. So she'll be coming on at 9:30 tonight, about a half hour from now. Let me just get into my notes here, give you an idea of what's going on behind the curtains. I wanted to make a comment. I made it on the Chronicle program before us, and it's dealing with when people win prizes here on the Six Screens. I can only send it to the person that won the prize. No third party people. I understand that you have a good heart. You want to help as many people as you can. But what happens, friends, is it's very, very confusing. So I'm going to ask those who do win prizes here on the Six Screens. Well, what you really should do is write me yourself. Give me your email address as well as your snail mail address. Then I can mail you the prize, whether it be cash, or whether it be books or T-shirts or whatever we're giving away. But what's happened in the past is, you know, people would say, "Well, send it to such and such." And then I would send the prize out person that told me to send it to, and the person never got it. And then be writing me or calling me, "Rick, I never got my prize." And then I got to go back, and it's quite complex to go through all of that. So bear that in mind. If you win a prize on the Six Screens, give me an email, give me a snail mail, and you'll get the prize. But no more third-party prize winners. All right, and I wanted to bring something else up here tonight that I don't know for sure, friends, but we have a man. His name is Chewy, and it's been reported today that some bad things have happened to Chewy, but we're not sure. I can't go on the record here. It's just on what I've been hearing. So if anybody out there knows of Chewy or anything that may have gone on with Chewy in the last few days, if you could call in tonight, I'd appreciate it. I've tried to get a hold of Chewy today, and I could not. But there's some things floating around out there. A lot of ex-witnesses have been having a very, very difficult time. And we hope the unthinkable didn't happen to Chewy. We love Chewy. He's been on here. As a matter of fact, he calls me just about once or twice a week. And he lives in Oklahoma. And he is a former Jehovah's Witness. And he's got, he's got a wife that's still in the organization. So if anyone knows Chewy or anything about Chewy, please call me tonight because call in this program because I've been a little worried about him. I've been trying to find out as much as I possibly could about him. Friends, this is one of the problems that we have here at the Six Screens, as well as with all of our ex-witness friends. A lot of these people use fictitious names. A lot of them are very skittish about, giving us information of relatives, of friends that might also be ex-witnesses that we could contact if we don't hear from some of these people. But we have so many people missing in action that have been coming through the Six Screens here in the last 20 years. And it's very heart-wrenching because, you know these people, even though you never met them personally, they're like friends of yours through the social networks, and it really hurts. I've been worried about Chewy all day, really. So if anyone knows about Chewy, that would be good. And we also talked a month or so ago, Susan is trying to keep a database on ex-witnesses, because what happens is, if nobody knows where they went or what happened to them, who do we get a hold to? Who do we call? Who do we find out? So if you want to share information with Susan, you can write me at jwworldnews@gmail.com and say, look, I've got an aunt that is an ex-witness as well, or brother, and I'm going to give you their telephone number. Just their email is fine even. And then if we don't hear from people, at least we have some contact that we can at least contact these people and find out what happened to them. So that would be good. That would help us all in our little Six Screens community. Susan, go ahead.
Yeah, and we're not trying to be morbid or to try to put ourselves in your business. It's just that we care. And there's so many people that, like Rick said, we don't know what happened to them. We don't know who to get a hold of. And some people, they were getting married and they were on their honeymoon. They were coming to visit us and they never showed up. So we don't know what happened to them. That's the type of experiences that we're having. So please, just share a phone number or an email address. Give us your name, even your fake name, and say if you hear something happens to me, just call this number.
Very good. Yep. Yeah. In fact, I see someone saying check Joe and Fran. I have talked to Fran and Joe today, as a matter of fact, and they have little information as well. So just bringing that up because I'll tell you what we reported. Was it last week or was it the week before? I think it was the week before. I can't remember. But there was another man, Austin Williams, who was an ex-witness. He did YouTube videos, and you remember him. And he committed suicide in the last couple of weeks, and that was a shock, friends. And we also have news of another suicide that happened this week as well. So,
in fact, there's 5 possible. Believe it or not, there's 5 possible suicides. Well, 4 because we know about Austin. So there's 4 possible suicides within the last few weeks. So, boy, we'd like to know what's going on.
Oh yeah, no, but we'll bring up more of this next week when we find out exactly what's going on with Chewy. So any information on Chewy
or anyone else
or anyone else that's missing in action here that by all means, we'll bring this up next week. I'm going to play a video. I'm just going to play a video. We did an AI video that I want you to see, and it's concerning the woman that's going to be coming on here in about 20 minutes from now. So let's get this up. I want you to see the video because it's really remarkable, the story that Sharon's going to tell us. And I just want to give you a little preview of it. So let's see where it is. I don't see it here, darn it. Okay. Yeah, I have stuff up and then it goes away. Let me just check one thing. It's not that one.
Did you send it to me?
No, I got it here somewhere. Well, anyways, I'll bring it up in just a few minutes here. But in the meantime, well, what I want to do is I want to talk about something that really got my attention. I got thinking a lot about it. And, what's happening? And I find this really fascinating that there's a whole lot of people as of late that have been emailing me and even texting me. I get texts and emails all day long, really, and they give me news to bring up on the program. But a lot of these people are boomers. It's really amazing me. We're seeing, at least I'm seeing, many Jehovah's Witnesses that are leaving, and they're baby boomers. They're getting up there in age, right? And I think I know what's going on. I really believe I believe I know what's happening with the baby boomers in the Watchtower. I really believe that they are believing now that they've been scammed. Yep, I really do. I mean, you can pull the wool over people's eyes. You can get away with it for a while. But I'm going to tell you something. We're all humans. And when we get an odd feeling inside, a deep feeling inside that something's wrong. We're being scammed. And I think a lot of the boomers are starting to realize that. I'm going to tell you why. I mean, I'm not just going to throw stuff out here and expect you to believe it. I believe a lot of these people, older ones, are leaving the Watchtower. They've had enough. I mean, they lived their entire life sacrificing for the Watchtower. And the Watchtower kept promising them the end was just around the corner. You know what I'm talking about, right? And still nothing. Where's Armageddon? 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60, 70, 80, 100 years. Where is it? Now, I'm going to give you my thoughts on this, and you can take it to the bank and cash it. I'm going to tell you what really tipped the scales on why we have so many boomers leaving the Watchtower. November 2025 Watchtower. Oh, do you remember? We've talked about it here numerous times on the 6 screens. And what that Watchtower had to do or say was that the end may not come in your lifetime. Yeah, the boomers' lifetime. The November 2025 Watchtower study article, the article was entitled Maintain Your Joy in Old Age. Paragraph 7 explicit. This I'm reading it verbatim right from the Watchtower. Paragraph 7 explicitly acknowledges that older Jehovah's Witnesses might pass away before Armageddon arrives. Now, this, friends, is a notable shift from decades of teaching the absolute imminence of Armageddon. This is a major shift. It's a scam. Wouldn't you feel like you were scammed? You gave your whole life? Yes.
Hey, RJ.
Yes.
I look back at my time being a witness, and I noticed all the problems back then, or at least some of them. But I think what the problem is you buy the whole picture, and then you don't always agree with all the little details or all the little nuances.
Yes.
But all those little things start adding up.
Well, they do, RJ. I mean, do you feel? I'm not going to
Like,
ask you how old you are, but do you feel like you were scammed?
cheated. I'll say I was cheated out of that.
Cheated? Yeah.
I was a hardcore witness for about 6 years. That's not as long as some people, but that's a long time.
Of course.
And when would you sacrifice 6 years? There's not a good time to sacrifice 6 years, right?
Yes.
Even if you're age 60 to 66 or 66 to 72, never a good time.
No. So how long you been out, RJ?
About 18 years, I think now.
There you go. Well, I mean, people just getting out right now, they definitely feel as though they're being scammed. That's for sure. That is absolutely for sure.
Yes.
But yeah, let me go on with this. Let's see what we got here. I'm just trying to get a video up here that I wanted to play to show some people tonight a video we did on the guest that's coming up. Susan,
Hey, Rick,
yeah.
What advice would you, like I always said, when you were getting out, I was getting in, or, I was already in, but it took me another 4 years after you left to get in there. What would you say as you were walking out and somebody's walking in? Like, what's your advice now?
I'm sorry, I missed that question that you asked me as I was uploading a video here to show. Go ahead, RJ, with that question again.
you know, they say in psychology, they say, you know, if you want to know where you're going, ask somebody on the way back.
Oh yeah,
Like
well,
if you're into accounting or nursing or wherever, ask somebody who's retiring from it what they would tell you. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, you know, to like a young witness, what advice do you give them, or how do you get them to see your point of view?
Well, there's so many things. I mean, there's no real way. It's hard to enter the atmosphere of a Jehovah's Witness. But I mean, a younger one, they'd be easier to talk to than an older one. But one of the approaches you could use, and it was a friend of mine, he died. His name was Mark Paulo, and he, at an older age, was going to college. And he wanted to learn some things he couldn't learn when he was one of Jehovah's Witnesses. But one thing that he did do when he was going to college up here in Massachusetts is one little thing he said, you can't really, talk to witnesses, because there were some there in school, in the college of all things. And he says, you really can't go up to them and start feeding them all this apostate propaganda, as they would look at it as. But he said, just ask them if they know the history of the Watchtower, if they know the history. And it's a good entry point. So I would do that. I wouldn't go up and tell them right off bat that, you guys are all wrong. You guys don't know what you're talking about. I'd ask them if they really have ever looked at the history of the Watchtower. That's one thing that I would really, ask them to do. But it's a shot in the dark. Whether they would listen or not, I don't know. But anyways, RJ, I wanted to discuss too with the people online tonight that we've been talking about this idea of Armageddon not coming in their lifetime. And I'm thinking that Watchtower article of November 2025 talking about it's not going to arrive in your lifetime. That's a big letdown. It really, really is. Think about it. A lot of the baby boomers, including myself, you gave up a lot of time. We were out preaching, going to meetings, going to conventions. We sacrificed weekends. When we saw all of our non-Jehovah's Witness friends going off to baseball games, football games, they're doing all these fun things in life. And here we are, witnesses. We're not doing nothing. We're going out in service and going to meetings. And then also you're hauling your family off to a convention in the middle of summer when you could really be having a good time. But we're going to conventions, and a lot of our peers who weren't witnesses, well, they're going on family vacations. I used to think about that because I used to have people working for me that weren't witnesses. And, my vacation was go to a convention, and they're going off to the beach and the mountains and camping and having a wonderful time. But we're going to meetings and doing things that were just miserable. We couldn't have any fun. So what got my attention in this particular Watchtower, November 25, particularly in paragraph 7, in fact, this is exactly how it reads, and it's addressing older members directly, and it's saying to them, perhaps you were saddened by the possibility that the end of this system will not come in your lifetime. Well, that would make you sad. And then that's right in the Watchtower magazine. Hold on one second here. Yes.
Rick,
I'm sorry?
Really?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's still.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stephen Lett just a year ago on YouTube says we are living the last seconds or the last minutes, of the system of things. I forget the exact verbiage that he used, but basically he just said almost tomorrow morning it's going to be Armageddon, and now they come out, and he's a government body member, Stephen Lett, and then they come out with this. You might not see it in your lifetime. If you're talking about a baptized Jehovah's Witness who's 20 years old, well, he could live, 60 more years. So he may not see it in his lifetime either. I don't know why they're building all those buildings up in Warwick in upstate New York.
Or buying buildings.
Those buildings are going to be there for a century. Thank you, Rick.
Well, thank you, Dick. No, these are things that don't you think, Dick? I mean, you're in my age group. You just had a birthday in my age, and don't you think for a second that these baby boomers aren't thinking of this? Building buildings. We couldn't do this. Many witnesses never bought a house. You know, why would you want a house? Wait till after Armageddon. Many witnesses didn't have children. Many witnesses, as we all know, and we talk about it all the time, didn't go to school, didn't do this or whatever. So all of a sudden now, we're looking at an organization going gangbusters. I mean, they set up an asset management company in Ireland. They're buying real estate all over the place. They just bought a big warehouse, IBM. Well, probably a data center. It is a data center up in New York. And at the same time, they've scammed the people. So people are waking up and smelling the coffee. Now, this is what I want to tell you, and I think this is disgusting. This really makes me sick when you stop and think about it. So how really, in that particular Watchtower, we brought this up before, but I want to say it again on, how is the Watchtower going to help these people who are coping? Witnesses that are still in, and, they're not going to go up to an elder and say, I'm sick of it. They're thinking of it, though. They are sick of it, and they're thinking of it. So how is the Watchtower, and they're good at this, they're good at softening the blow. Let's go with that. So how is the Watchtower going to make the witnesses able to cope with the problem of Armageddon's not coming in their lifetime? Well,
hey,
hold on 1 second. Let me just finish, okay? Hold on 1 second, RJ. So how is the Watchtower going to have people who have been told Armageddon's coming in their lifetime? How are they going to tell these people how to deal with it? Well, they're saying that, this is a divine delay.
A divine delay?
Where
did you get that?
Well, it's right from the Watchtower. So they're saying that this Armageddon not coming in a lifetime is a sign of divine delay or mercy and patience rather than failed expectation. Do you buy that? Do you look at this as a sign of divine mercy and delay?
They got a lot of
I
guts.
don't buy any of it, Rick.
Oh no! How could you? But this is what they're doing, and they're trying to, give it in such a way that, because of the time that we're all living in, Jehovah. Now, I'll tell you what. They're speaking for the God of the universe. Who gave them permission to do that? So they're saying here that Jehovah is feeling that more time is needed, so more people would come in the truth. Is this sick stuff or what? Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, Rick. You're in the Northeast. I'm in the Midwest. To quote your buddy Stephen Lett, we're living in the last days of summer. I remember conventions. You had to wear a 3-piece, or you had to wear like a full suit with a jacket and everything. And it would always be like 80 degrees at the convention hall.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I know.
And then other people get to enjoy their summer. For you and Dick, it's the Hamptons or the Pocono Mountains. For me, like the Chicago area, the Midwest, it was Traverse City, Michigan, the Upper Peninsula. For other people in the West, it's Lake Tahoe or whatever. But going up north and going to like vacation areas is so important to families in the summertime. And then you're deprived. That's one of the small things you're deprived of being a witness.
Well, yeah, it's a big thing. It's small but big. It means a lot. Look, you got to have fun in life. You can't constantly be adhering yourself to the teachings of the Watchtower. It could drive you nuts. But here's another thought, RJ, and those listening in. And I'll tell you, this really, these guys ought to really be arrested and thrown in prison for what they've done to people. Now, the text in this Watchtower, and we talked about this before, but I'm going to reiterate it. Now, they're trying to make people my age, 60s, 70s, 80s, they're trying to make them believe that it's okay. Just be patient. Wait on Jehovah. So what they're saying here is they're explaining that Jehovah is patiently waiting to give more people, including many family members, the chance to learn and serve him before the end comes. Now, I don't know if that would totally satisfy me. If I've been scammed and someone told me that, well, we were putting good use to the money we scammed you for, that's what I would feel like.
So they're saying that this is a plot by Jehovah to trick us, to keep us hanging on, and to see if we really, 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 really love him.
Yeah. Well, Susan, so that's why I wanted to bring that, because I'm getting email. I'm getting people who are baby boomers. I'm saying, wow, these people. Now that there's a shift here, friends. I don't want to tell you that just because I got a number of emails and texts from baby boomers that the world is changing here in the world of the witnesses. But I think it's enough to at least attach this.
Oh, and
Well, hold on, RJ, hold on 1 second, okay? Let me just finish my thought, and then I'll come to you. Okay, so I think there's enough here to go with that is enough to really make a lot of old ones say, we have had enough. Now you got about 1 minute, RJ. We got to go another. We got to have a woman coming on that's waiting to come on. Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, even if, best case scenario, the Watchtower dissolved today, if they sold off all the Kingdom Halls, that money's not going to the members. That's going straight to the top. And all the money you donated, like I have a saying at my work, we joke around about that. Like somebody doesn't do what they say they're going to do. I say, well, you got to check your receipts.
Yeah, watch your
and
receipts.
then,
Hello.
the Watchtower doesn't give you a receipt check.
No. Go ahead, Hiddle. You're on with us. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi there. Yeah, I remember we were explicitly told at conventions not to waste money paying into a pension fund. So in 2001, I had a really well-paid job, but I didn't get the opportunity to pay into a pension fund. So my future is still being affected by all the nonsense that the Watchtower teach.
Mm-hmm. Well, absolutely, absolutely. Well, Donnie, I thought you were Edith. They're coming out of New York, but thank you for that thought. But a lot of people are expressing the same thing, Donnie, that you're expressing. Hey, we got. I'll go another 5 minutes. Just hold on 1 second, Sharon. If you're listening in, I believe Sharon's on with us. Sharon, just hang in for about 5 minutes. We're gonna get you right on. We got a lot of people coming in here tonight. Let's go. We got a number. Let's keep it short. Go ahead, Dick.
Hey, Rick,
Yeah.
back in 75, the end of 75, when I'm getting income in the fall, they were saying the same thing. That Jehovah's decided to give people more time, and they knew what Jehovah was thinking because they're attached to him because they're the anointed. Of course, now they're the faithful and discreet slave, but they were saying the exact same thing back in 1975, that God was giving people more time to get their act together before he destroys the world.
Yeah, absolutely, Dick. Nothing new. It's just nothing new. Said the same thing back then, so they just rehash it. Thank you. Good comment.
Well, it worked last time, so it's going to work this time.
Yes. Okay, let's go by area code. We'll get to you though. I just want to, the first people coming in, I gotta let them comment here. Let's go to 571. 571, you're on with us.
I just wanted to say that I'm really looking forward to what Sharon has to say. She's a fabulous writer. She's a truth teller and a good storyteller to put her story together. And I can't wait. And regarding the witnesses in the Watchtower, they have islands. My idea of a summer vacation is a bag of bought ice.
You're a hot dog fixer. All right, let's go with 720. I think that's Dan and Angela. Go ahead, Dan.
Hey there, Rick. Yeah, I think a lot of the witnesses now, I think you're onto something, but I think a lot of the witnesses are coming out of denial, because when that first article came out about, we might be alive, and not, I forget how you put it. But anyway, a lot of the witnesses I talked to acted like they never heard it. And I think it's because they've never heard it before. They've always been looking forward to, an end, a date, 70 or 80 years, the generation. And so I think it's a controlled demolition. I think, like you say, Rick, the older ones are going to say, the hell with this. And what else was I going to say? I heard from a guy today, a young man, and he was on TikTok, and he said this thing. He said, we may not die, the end may not come, and we may die. And he was traumatized. It was a young man. He was under 30, and he was traumatized. So I think you're right, Rick. I think this is disillusional. They don't have the carrot anymore. They're not even saying they got the carrot. I mean, that's the thing that held them together. The glue was, it's going to end tomorrow. And now it's like, what are they doing? Are they trying to just sell out the rest of the halls or whatever? But it's interesting. I just want to say, I think the people are now saying, wait a minute, what are they telling us? Like, how you go back and rethink something, you go, did they say we may not die? You know what I mean?
Well, I like you. In fact, Dan, I use your phrase a lot, your controlled demolition. I really do sometimes, because it's so bizarre, even though that might not totally be what's going on. But you would think that.
Right.
It's almost like they're trying to destroy this with some of the stuff they're saying in their publications. Thank you, Dan. Always good to hear from you. Okay, let me
Yeah,
just.
the older ones, Rick, I want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
The older people, a lot of them, when they die, they do say, we were screwed. I've heard 3 different people that say that. Even my grandpa told his son, he goes, we were lied to, we got screwed. And they said he had a nervous breakdown. Another man was dying. His name was Art Epperson. And he said, we got screwed. I watched him on his deathbed. He said, we got screwed because the end was supposed to come in their lifetime. They weren't supposed to experience death. Anyway, that's it, Rick. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Dan. Always good to hear from you. Now, we do have an anonymous caller. Does Anonymous want to speak up? You're on with us. Go ahead. You're in the no mute zone. All right. Maybe you don't want to speak up. All right. Well, let's end it there. Then we're going to bring Sharon on. Sharon, just hold on one second. I'm going to play a film. We promoted this here, friends. We got a lot of people. I'm looking at some really strong traffic coming into the 6 screens tonight on our telephone lines, coming in through YouTube and Facebook and Twitch. And I just wanted to play a video that we made this week and promoted this program that we have. Well, actually, JW World News with Sharon tonight. So listen in. Let's share the video. Then we'll bring Sharon on. One second. Get it big. Let's play it.
Behind the image of a devoted Jehovah's Witness family were secrets defined by fear and extreme abuse. This Saturday, on the 6 Screens Telenetwork, here's Sharon's gripping story. An emotional history of her oppressively strict father, an elder in the congregation, and her severely abusive mother who carried dark secrets of her own. Her childhood was anything but safe. Join us this Saturday on our conference call, where we'll be discussing the theme, Extreme Abuse in the Watchtower Organization.
Well, there you go. So I thought that was a good little promo we put up, and a lot of people did see it. I got a lot of people that wrote me and commented on it, and they're all looking forward to Sharon coming on. So hello, Sharon. You there with us?
I'm here, Rick. Hey, Susan, how you guys doing?
Hi, honey. How are you?
We're doing very good, Sharon. Well, I'll tell you, Sharon, as I was just telling the audience, I started out with this program 20 years ago with just a telephone. There was no YouTube, Facebook at the time. And we just started doing what we call a conference call. We still call it that. It's like a podcast, really. And basically, we've had so many people come on. I would just say, well, I know one thing. We've done over 6,000 shows. And I will say, of all the different programs that we've done, you stand out as one of the most extreme cases of abuse that I have heard of in my 20-year history here at the Six Screens. So what we're going to do, Sharon, is we're gonna go right back to I call it the scene of the accident. I want to go right back.
Okay.
Well, now I'll kind of work you through it because I know that some of the stuff you're going to talk about is rather difficult. So friends, I want you to be aware of that too. Maybe with young children around or whatever. But we do have a woman here that I wanted her to tell her story because also what I want you to know at the end of all of this, when the program ends tonight, Sharon and Susan and I have been discussing things this week, and Sharon, she has some thoughts that she's going to share with you, not here tonight, but we're going to give you a place you can go and hear how Sharon has come to freedom after all of this difficulty that she's experienced. So Sharon, we're going to go right back to the scene of the accident. And what that is that's the first time really that you came to grips with the Jehovah's Witness religion. So let's start from square one, Sharon.
Okay. You can tell by my accent, I'm from New York, and I grew up on Long Island. At that time, in the late 50s, Long Island was like a desert with trees. So when my parents moved out there was no neighbors except down the block or maybe up by this dirt road that became a 4-lane highway later on. So it was pretty desolate. And it was in May. And this woman named Mary DeFatti knocked on my mother's door and introduced her to the Watchtower. Now, my mother has a past history with spiritism. And she used to speak with voices. She used to tell fortunes, put spells on people. Grandma told me that when they came here, they had the crystal ball, the whole business. They had it all. And, you know, when my mother joined the Watchtower, it was like she broke free of that. But as I tell you what happened in my house, you'll see she just delved deeper into the evil. And the Watchtower was the trap door. And she went through it willingly because she was lonely. They're predators. All right. My father was brought in 61. He became a witness, but my mother became a witness in 59. And I remember the Bible. This is why it is extremely important to me, because that is the first book I read. My mother started teaching me when I was 3 years old. I remember getting dressed up to this Bible. I remember the build up to this Bible that I was going to get. And Mary DeFatti, she really, really went at, oh, you're going to get the New World Translation, the whole thing. So here I am with my patent leather, my velvet dress, little velvet dress, the little socks, everything. I remember what I wore. I remember coming down those stairs, and I remember sitting on the couch waiting for this Bible because God was coming into our house. Now, I was a little kid, and I remember that specifically. And that night, after she brought that Bible in, I remember just going over the gold lettering, New World Translation of the Holy Scripture. I remember doing that over and over again. And then my mother started teaching me. In the beginning, I can't tell you how many times I read in the beginning before I finally got it. Now, because when she started teaching me, I was 3. But when it was time for me to go to school, because I knew how to spell Nebuchadnezzar, and I knew what an illuminary was. This was 5 years old when I was getting ready to go in kindergarten. They wouldn't let me go. So they made me wait another year. In the meantime, I'm learning Watchtower. I'm learning the Bible. I'm reading the Bible. I'm learning the books, everything in order. It's like going into compartments into my brain. It is forming me. It is forming me along with the Watchtower teachings. All right.
Well, let's stop right there for a second now. Let's stop right there for a second.
Go ahead.
Now, I just want to give the audience a little more understanding of your mother. Your mother was she was a gypsy, right?
Yes.
And was she from Romania?
No, my grandmother's family were from Budapest, Hungary.
Hungary. Now, okay, so so your mother also was a psychic reader at one point, right?
Yes. Palms, everything.
All right, so she was that when she actually started coming into the Watchtower, right?
Yes, yes. It was like she said she was breaking away from that.
All right, good. So,
Right.
all right, just wanted to give the audience, to really,
Yeah.
you kind of grew up in a spooky household here, Sharon, but go ahead and continue, yeah?
Oh, you ain't kidding. we had a bed that when you laid in it, it would massage your head. And we used to fight over who was going to sleep on that side of the bed so that our scalps could be massaged. We didn't see the hands, but you felt it. You felt it.
So it wasn't one of those. I mean, I have a bed that's got a motor underneath.
No, this is in the 60s.
So, I mean, there was no motorized bed. It was
No.
Wow. Well, that's so your
It was
mother.
a regular bed.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you felt
This is how spooky our house was. My brother, who's still in Watchtower, but I think he's like teetering. He used to scream that there were helicopters in his room, and when an adult would come in, he called them the snot men, and they would disappear into the corners of the walls. This is when we weren't even 10 years old and we were going through this.
Wow. Well,
I'll
tell you what. No, that's now your father, as you were saying, your mother came in the so-called truth first, and then she kind of got your father to come in. Is that how that worked?
Yeah, a little bit of that. Eve, here's the apple. You coming with me or not? Yeah, a little bit of that, because there was a lot of fighting for him to become a witness. So there was a lot of fights, and then 9 months later there'd be a baby. So yeah, I think all that it was just such violence, and there were times that as I was growing up, my bedroom was above their bedroom, and the TV would blast and blast in the middle of the night. And I would go down there to knock, can you put the TV low? We had to get up for school. And it was like I was always taking the lead, even over my parents, reminding them that we're little kids, and they didn't answer me. So I just cracked it a little bit, and they were sleeping. So I walked in, and I think I might have been only 9, because it wasn't the first time it happened, but that was the one I remember because the sound was so loud, and I knew they had just had sex. I knew it because they were naked.
Wow.
And yeah, wow, yeah.
All right. Well, no. Okay. So, all right. So we're getting it. In other words, the family that you grew up in was not like a normal family.
No, there was no normality in that house.
Now, how
None
about
whatsoever.
your sibling? Now, how about your siblings? You had you have 3 or 4 siblings, right?
I'm the oldest of 9.
9. Why? You had 9 children.
Like I said, there was a lot of fights.
A lot of fights.
So there was a lot of babies. So we used to think
how
baby comes from the fight.
In other words,
So we would get the baby book after a huge fight
in other words, your mother and
to name
father,
the baby.
your mother and father would make up and be intimate.
Right.
All
And
right.
that's when the TV would get loud.
Okay. Oh, well, that's fascinating,
Wow.
Sharon. Now, all right. So let's continue on with this. So your mother is studying and becoming one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and
Right. And she's becoming like super end of the world woman. I mean, a storm, Armageddon. Plane crash, Armageddon. Any little thing that happened, we were terrified growing up. We were terrified. And she used the scriptures to condemn and hurt us, hold us in control, just as bad as the Watchtower did. Now, I know she was under deception, okay? With what I have, all the research I have done, it makes it easier for me to forgive them for what they have done, but I don't think I can ever forget. Because I wasn't the only one this happened to. It was brothers and sisters smaller than me. I've always been tall, and I just couldn't let them get abused the way we were abused. You know, my brother's girlfriend said that my brother had mentioned to her that he took beatings for us, and I said, you can ask any of us, we probably took them for each other.
so
Because they were just into violence.
So I mean, you were violently hit. It wasn't like a pat on the rear end.
Oh, no, are you kidding me? No, we even buried belts in the backyard. It wasn't just a swat. It wasn't just, you know, a smack in the head or, you know, what's the matter with you, punching me up? No, this was physical violence. My brother, I don't want to say names. My brother was thrown out of a back door at a barbecue pit, and his jaw got broke. And they wouldn't take him to a dentist because they didn't know how to explain it. This is the 60s.
Boy.
And where we lived, there was nobody to hear us screaming.
Now, when your mother
My
was
growing up was a nightmare.
now when you were being, beaten by your mother, was she bringing up Jehovah and you got to be a good witness?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got to punch Satan out of you. I got to punch the devil out of you. And then one time she took a math book and then beat me in the head with it till I passed out because she said she saw demons dancing on my head. And then I was getting seizures later on in life, okay? And they kept saying, there's no cause to this. We don't understand where these are coming from. And then my brother said, could it be when she beat you with the math book? I was like, oh my God, I didn't even think of that. And now one of my brothers or sisters, I'm not sure which one it was, but they went to a doctor because they were having a lot of physical pains in their body. And the doctor had asked them, were you abused as a child? And they said yes. He said, this is what that's from. I mean, my father's 6 feet tall. These are little kids being thrown downstairs out of cars. This was not a normal upbringing. And then a few times my mother let us have some of the kids in the neighborhood. There must have been, I would say, in a 4-block, huge block neighborhood, because of where I grew up, they were very long blocks, almost like a city block. There must have been maybe half a dozen kids that lived there our age. All right. So every now and then, she would let me call them to come on over. We had a swimming pool, right? The only pool in like the whole neighborhood. And so she would let us, either me or my sister, the pioneer, call up the friends that we come home on the bus with. She would always single out a kid and go in the bedroom with this child lock the door, TV would go on loud. And I didn't make this connection until Connie was sitting in my living room 3 years ago. And we were talking about something, and I looked at her and I went, oh my God, Connie, I just had a flashback. I just realized something. And she said, what? I said, I've been complicit and I didn't even know it. She goes, what's going on? And I told her what I just said to you, okay? And her mouth just dropped open. And she said, Sharon, had nothing to do with you. You were a child too. And if it wasn't for Connie saying that, if she wasn't there at that moment, I'd probably carry that guilt.
So
But Connie was in my living room when I had that moment, that revelation, let's say.
all right, so just so the audience can really get it, and I can get it. So she took a child, in the bedroom with her and locked the door. What can we what can we expect happened?
Why would you do that? Why would you put the TV loud? Why did you invite this child over? Why wasn't this kid allowed to come out in the pool with us?
Well, it's I mean,
Watchtower or whoever the individual happened to be at the time. Didn't matter sex. Didn't matter.
right. So I mean, I'm just I don't want to jump to conclusions, but I mean, I'm thinking in terms of, was she having sex with them?
Either she was doing that or she was having them do stuff to her and she was doing stuff to them without the actual act.
Yeah. All right. So.
I don't know.
All right. Well, that's all right.
But why? Now that I'm an adult and I am looking back, why would you do that and then later on mess with another kid and then run away with him and leave my 3-year-old brother?
Well, pretty sad state of affairs.
And all that, yeah. And all that, pretend to be like this upstanding person and, oh, I'm bringing the truth to this one and that one. Give me a break. The truth. They took lies, twisted them into truth. So when the real truth comes, we'll be so affected by those lies and the trauma we have gone through, we won't know that we have to keep looking for that truth till we get there. We're so traumatized, we don't want to know anything. The Watchtower did its job. Either it made you look for God, or you don't want to know nothing. I heard it all before. Oh, I've been down this road. Oh, I don't want. If it's religion, I don't want. No, this is our lives, and look at what's happened to us. We have all been damaged in one way or another. And when you start unraveling what that organization has done to every single one of us that left it, and those that are still stuck in it, this is why I get so upset. Because, Rick, I told you, black ice, it's a black ice event.
Well, no doubt, no doubt, you experience things that, it's really bad, your experience as a young child, but we've had a lot of people, we've talked about abuse in the Watchtower before, and how mothers could be really violent with their young children. We've had people call in.
Oh, yeah, we had a coffee can underneath the bathroom sink filled with wooden spoons. You would hear children screaming, "No, mommy, not the bathroom." What are they doing to these kids? You're bringing them into a bathroom, you're trying to train them to go, and yet you're taking them in there to beat them up?
Well, all of us can talk about seeing that even in Kingdom Halls, little kids being lugged out of the.
That's what I'm talking about, in the Kingdom Hall.
Yeah.
But then they don't show you what's going on in the individual homes. Everybody's all dressed up. My mother used to make sure we were dressed to the nines.
Yeah.
Everything ironed, all that for the image. The idolatry with a capital I.
Well, we had a.
Never mind what you're doing to children's psyches.
Well, we had a special pioneer woman come on here one night, and she was in her 50s, and she gave us the story of what happened in her family. And her father was an elder. We've heard these stories, terrible. And the father would, everyone at the Kingdom Hall thought he was an angel. Oh, they loved Brother John. They loved him so much. Oh, what a nice elder, what a nice man. But boy, he was so violent with his children. And one night he came home. The pioneer sister, special pioneer sister, was telling us one night he came home from the meeting, and he had 4 little children, and they had a dog. They came home, and the dog was, kind of yapping a little bit and making, kind of a nuisance of himself in the kitchen. And when they came through the door, he took his book bag and was trying to kill the dog with his book bag in front of the kids. I mean, this is the type of stuff that we've heard here in the
They are sadistic predators. That's what they are.
Yeah,
It's almost like a
Doesn't matter
spirit.
if it's a human or an animal.
It's almost like a spirit comes over them and they become evil.
It is a spirit. It is a spirit. That's exactly what it is.
You can see it.
When you move and you get away from that. Because Susan, I loved last week when you said ping ponging. Because I did that several times also.
A lot of people
Because
do.
when things weren't going the way the Bible said it's supposed to go, I would just walk away, get ticked off. But then, because I was so trained by my mother, a storm is coming, Armageddon's coming, I would freak out, get scared, and pray aloud. And who knocks on my door the very following day? The witnesses. And there's stupid Sharon. Oh, thank you, God heard my prayers. Yeah, that stupid Sharon crying, I fell right back into it again. Knowing the abuse, knowing how I felt inside that I couldn't even study with my own children because I didn't feel worthy, because I would not preach to anybody. I couldn't do it. I didn't want them to feel what I felt inside, and I couldn't tell if it was because that garbage was beaten to me or if it was the actual doctrines. I couldn't tell the difference.
Well, we've had so many people too, Sharon. We've had so many people that have been traumatized, not only in the family like you were, but also from the publications. Did the Watchtower publications scare you as a little girl with all those pictures of Armageddon and people falling and earthquakes and hailstones coming down? Did that all bother you?
And the dog was falling down. The little dog.
That's right, yeah. You remember that picture.
And my mother said to me, because those pictures, I always felt like they were looking back at me. So she says, here, color them. That made it worse. Now they were staring at me, not just looking. They were staring. So just to prove that point, okay, my elderly gentleman across the street, I've been warning him about the Watchtower. Like I tell you, I warn everybody around here. I warn the people up the courthouse. I warn the post office lady. I just warn them. And then, so I've been telling him, and he told me he had a Watchtower. And I said to him, I'm coming over with my mirror. And I go over there, and no matter which way, I don't remember what publication it was, because that thing does not come in my house. I had that paper in my house, that Watchtower in my house, 1 hour. Me and my husband fought about the stupidest things, and I threw it out in a box under my carport, and we haven't fought. All right, so like I said, I brought the mirror over, and I was folding it every which way, and I was showing him, and he was standing above me as I was holding it in my lap, and he says, if I didn't see this, I wouldn't believe it. So I explained subliminal images to him, and then he said to me, what about the Bible? And I said, none of my Bibles have pictures. So he pointed to the one his mom gave him, and I pulled that one out. It was a big, monstrous Bible, right? I opened the book. First page that shows up is the picture that's supposedly of Christ in the red robe. I put the mirror down. What did we get? The other side of Christ in the red robe. That was all we got. Now he don't want them in his house.
Well, what's fascinating here, and that was interesting what you just said about your husband. When you had the Watchtower publication in your house, you were fighting. Now, I've heard that before. I've heard everything here in 20 years of doing this program. And in other words, I'm sure there's people listening in here that they don't, really connect Watchtower to the occult. I do. And there's a number of people on.
Open that door. Pull the curtain back from those wizards. See exactly what they're involved in. Just see what they're involved in. You will be shocked. Because it's not just what we are investigating when we leave. When we leave the Watchtower, that is our number one focus. It's to show everybody else what they are, what they're capable of, what they did to us personally, family-wise. And that's like what we do. We don't go any further to see how utterly corrupt they are. They're, oh my God. I cannot get into it on here because, Rick, I don't want you getting in trouble with, your YouTube cops. So I don't need you getting in trouble with that. But yeah, you have to keep digging and digging and digging about this organization because, they put those little faces on how much they love everybody. No, they hate us. They only want our money. They want our sweat. Governing body don't care. They walk over your dead body. They'll take your wallet. You're not using it.
Well, I'd be willing to say that most of the people listening to this program are totally 100% in unison with you, Sharon. And the thing is, just to stay on that subject here for a second or two, there is, when I first started doing this program, there's a lot of things I didn't know about the Watchtower. I didn't think they were as bad as they are. But the longer that I do this program, the worse they become. Go ahead, Susan.
Sharon, I have to honestly tell you, I've heard some of your story before, but to hear all this now, I'm in shock, to be honest. I don't know how you. No, I'm fine. No, I'm glad you're saying all this. It needs to be said. It does. People need to realize how evil and satanically backed this organization is. You forget. You think, oh, the Bible, and we sing songs, and we go preach, and we're kind of Christian, sort of, kind of. No, we're not. We're being led down a bad path, and you're showing us. And you're showing us this. So thank you for having the courage to do this. But I have to tell you, you had it, like Rick said, probably worse than anyone else we've heard yet.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, too, Sharon, and what's of interest here to me and what's kind of resonating through the framework of my thinking. And there's only, I don't know how an organization can be this evil.
Yeah, I know.
I really, I don't have a soft spot from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. How an organization who's supposed to be a Christian, the only true godly organization on the planet, can treat people the way they do, have some of the most heinous things taking place that they cover up, mainly child abuse, rape of women, sex trafficking. We've heard it all here on the 6 screens. And yet they want everyone to think of them as being so pristine, pure, and clean. These guys are charlatans. And, the only thing...
That's idolatry, Rick, with a capital I. That's what they are. They want you to worship them. They're worshiping money. They're worshiping the God behind money.
Yes.
That's their love. That is the root of all evil. The love of money. Not the money. It's the love of money. Look at the depths that they have gone to have kept that money. Changing this, changing that, making people kill themselves. I mean, this is a death cult.
Yes.
Every time a child, a woman, a man bleeds to death, this is what they're doing. They are sacrificing people. My grandson's other grandmother, my firstborn grandson, JW, okay, she had a simple operation. Yeah, something went wrong, and all she needed was, I think it was a pint of blood. She wouldn't take it. She's dead. The stupid idiot is dead, and I'm sorry for saying that. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Because if she loved her children, if she loved her grandchildren, if she loved herself, she would have researched to find out that, said eat blood, not help your body. I demand mercy, not sacrifice. That's in Hosea. And also in Hosea, my people died from lack of knowledge. If she knew that, she'd still be alive. She'd see her great-grandchildren right now. But no, she had to listen to an organization that has a history of death. Where is their life? Where is it? They didn't even want women to celebrate when they were pregnant. Well, what did they say when a woman was pregnant during that time, the 70s and the late 60s? Oh, woe to you. Where is that urgency today?
Well,
Now,
well, you got
34?
well, no, you got me thinking here when you say that. Woe to you! No, they really did. They looked down on everything, all of the little joys in life, all of the little accoutrements, you could say, all of the little things that you could really enjoy.
They took everything from us.
Yeah.
Everything. They took our family.
You know, Sharon, one of the first things God told Adam and Eve to do was to multiply and fill the earth, to have a family. The Watchtower doesn't want us to have families. They want us to be pioneers. They want us to go to Bethel.
They population group.
Right. They're taking away the first thing God gave as a gift, the family, the life, having children. Took it away. They it made it evil.
What you're saying, right? What you're saying, think about what I'm going to say right now. Even sex, they corrupted. They dared to go into the children. They corrupted it themselves. They are demons. They are evil. And I cannot stress that enough. What's the other word? Possessed?
Yes.
They're getting their riches now. They're getting their goods now because they know where they're going because they're the false prophets. They know. They ain't getting nothing.
I agree with
Get it right now. Get it right now.
Donald, what do you want to say, Donald, to Sharon?
I was just going to say I agree with her on that as well. They are definitely evil. This is Donald from Texas, by the way. They are beyond horrible. They are what I've been calling Satan's excrement.
That's too good.
Yeah, that's what I've been calling it, Satan's excrement, because that's what they're evil. They're vindictive. They don't care. They
hate.
I never was a JW, but I studied with them very briefly in the early 90s, and I am 61 years old now, but yeah, they are evil beyond measure. I mean, evil is almost a nice word to call it because I can't come up with a word that would really...
What kind of normal life can one expect to even have after leaving that? Unless you undo what that did to you, you're going to carry that baggage the rest of your life.
Well, they didn't
because it's traumatizing.
They didn't do much to me because I didn't stay in it for very long. I got out pretty quick.
Well, this is mostly for like the children that were raised in it and beat the mess out of it. This is the truth. This is God's word.
Yep. And the thing is, they've taken like Susan said, they've taken so much away from people. Everything from your dreams, your jobs, your careers, in your sex life, that too, and robbing children of their rights.
Innocence.
It's bad. It's right up Satan's alley.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is too. I'll tell you.
Hello?
Go ahead, Italy. Yeah, say hello to Sharon, Italy.
No. You could say we're gonna say Rick, but hi, Sharon.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Rick.
Go ahead and talk, Italy. Yeah, I can wait. Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't want you to lose your thought, Rick, or Susan. I just want to say a quick hello to Sharon. Hey, a fellow New Yorker here from one of the other 5 boroughs. I don't try to say where,
Yeah.
I'm from one of the 5 boroughs, and I just want to say I agree with the other brother from Texas. I agree with what everyone is saying. This organization is so heinous that to the point that I remember when we were kids, if you went to sleep in the meetings, you got beat. If you didn't comment, you got beat. You got yelled at. You got screamed. You got like the crazy ass Tony Morris was telling everyone when he was, excuse my French and Spanish and Italian, whatever, hey, if the kids don't, get baptized, no, what do you call, no driver's license for them.
No driver's license, yeah.
Yeah.
Total control.
And also when it comes to the hobbies. Now, and I'm going to say this real quick because I don't want, Rick to lose his thought and everything, is that there was the congregation that I left, and the elders, there was 2-3 elders, particularly one elder that could not stand my family for years. And I wasn't in this congregation for years, but we were in like the neighboring ones for years. And so, and I haven't been in at a King Warren's about 11, 12 years. So, but when I was learning music, like different instruments, such as drums and guitars and stuff. My sister, my cousin, were learning piano and clarinet and what have you. And we were doing all that when we were a little bit in school because our father he was like mainly chemo all his life. Them elders, and we're, ourselves around retirement age. It came in before the pandemic and came in for a shepherding call. One of them went and saw with our bedrooms open because we have 3-bedroom apartment and everything. Saw our musical instruments and then asked us, and I wanted to punch this in his face after he left. Why don't we take the musical instruments instead, sell them to whoever, take the money, put it in the donation box for the organization, and we stand out mainly in field circus, because that's what I call field circus. Field circus.
Great one.
Most other day. Plus also not to also go, and this is the other clincher, to a gym to work the hell out, for our health and to get whatever fat off of us or whatever, the weight. Did not want to do this. And a lot of people have left the organization from him because from the congregation and the neighboring ones, because he kept trying to go into people's homes and get all up in their business to the point that one sister said she saw him going into one of her closets where her clothes was at.
Whoa!
I wanted, and this sister's nephew, who's very close to one of my nephews, who's a visitor, meaning you studied and you didn't want to decline to get baptized. Well, good for you. They wanted to go and kick that man's hoo-ha. I felt like punching him in his mouth. So one of my cousins that lives with us once in a while. She, was going to check on something when it came to the Zoom meetings, and then he caught her on one of the, what do you call those things? One of those
treadmill.
No. On the Zoom meeting.
Okay.
What I forgot. One of the back. I forgot what they call it because I don't even deal with it. something that they
Okay.
talk after the meetings, and he's at the same. Well, why can't we come over to bring over, to you, the blood, the paperwork for the blood, for the blood ban, and also for to go into our bank accounts so they can take out what they call a tithe by way of a bank draft. So my cousin and my sister, who once in a while gets on there, they said, well, we'll have to let you know, but we told them, we're not doing it. And they were trying to call me, and I blocked their numbers. So I just wanted to say that, but welcome to Sharon. Thank you. I appreciate everything what you're saying. And thank you, Ricky. Susan. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Well, thank you.
Hey,
yeah.
Sharon. Sharon?
Hey, you.
What age was the person your mother left the family with?
Well, she started messing with him, from what I know, certainly, the certain time. I don't know if it was before that, okay? But the certain time was 14.
Oh, my goodness. You've told me this before, but I just wanted our listeners to be clear.
She was 42.
Oh, good heavens. That shocks even me.
Yeah, she was 42. And I had a 3-year-old brother, the youngest one at the time.
Right. So you then had to parent all your siblings, which is what you told me years ago.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I did, yeah. That's exactly what I did. When my mother would get in her moods to starve us into submission, this was so cruel. She would make her eggs to get the smell in the house. And then we were only allowed to have the ends of bread. The 2 ends that were there, I had to cut that into me and my brother and sisters with peanut butter into little quarters to stretch it out for us while she ate the eggs with the smell in the house.
Sounds like Hansel and Gretel.
It was horrible. And I don't think my brothers and sisters remember this. I really don't, because I think they blocked a lot out.
Yeah. Well, that's
what I think.
Trauma, the book is called The Body Keeps Score, because the trauma is stored in the body. We know that. We've discussed it.
Right. It's your brain is like a tape recorder. You just got to know how to hit rewind.
Right. Now you remember that Paradise book too, because you were telling
about the little dog.
The little dog. Now in
the
that
2
Paradise
pages with
book,
the bones. Yeah.
Yes. I've tried to explain to people that there was a full page that was a line illustration of Moloch.
Yes, there was. With the baby being thrown in the belly.
But now I'm thinking the Watchtower is Moloch.
Of course they are. Child sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if it isn't child sacrifice, it's family sacrifice.
And the blood doctrine, as you mentioned.
Oh, yeah. That's a sacrifice. But why would you stop somebody from trying to save their life? What's wrong with these people?
Now, when I was learning to read with the Paradise book back in the baby boom time, the brother that stayed at our house was part of the Watchtower executives.
You know what might end the blood?
I'm not finished, Donald, dear. He was part of the Watchtower executives. And he said about the Paradise book, when they had the picture of the angel in it, he had a whole story about the angel with the flaming sword and how great that was. And he was always saying agape. And as an adult and as a reporter and as a person who studies religions, I learned that the New York City Lodge of the Ordo Templi Orientis is the Agape Lodge.
Wow.
The Sundays they had on that, what was it, Stanley Theater, Long Island City, before they removed it. More the XJW was pointing it out.
Yeah, that's a beautiful theater. That goes back to Zoroastrianism.
Yeah. All the red carpets and everything. It was gorgeous in there.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long, strange trip, as the Grateful Dead band used to say.
Ain't that for sure?
When I look back at my early life and find someone who remembers that Paradise book, it's good to compare notes with you on that.
Right. But the one that scared me the most was the one with Ezekiel looking out on the valley of all those bones. That scared me the most.
Yeah.
Let's go to 860. Thank you, Pixie. 860. Come on. Say hello to Sharon.
Hi, Rick. Hi, Susan. Nice to see you. Sharon, I can understand totally exactly what you're talking about. I was raised, born in, but the thing is this religion is so demonized. It really is. I mean, the religion itself is full of demons.
Yes.
I can tell you some stories that would make your toes curl. Really, give you goosebumps so that you feel like your skin is no longer there. It's not easy to deal with all your life. I'm 71.
I just turned 70.
Well, it's going to live with you the rest of your life.
Oh, I know that. I know that.
The only thing is we have to get the hate out of ourselves and the evilness, because this religion has damaged so many people. And the thing is that if you can put everything into perspective and realize that this religion is nothing but demon. I mean,
it's just part of a bigger master plan.
When you go to bed at night and there's a thunderstorm and you crawl under the bed because you feel it's Armageddon and you're going to die, that's horrible. And to wake up because you feel something touching your feet when it was only your bed cover and you think it was Satan.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I remember the 60s, 70s, 80s, and early 90s. Everything in this world was Satan, Satan, Satan. These people worship Satan.
Yes, they do.
Brought in, all they ever talked about was Satan this.
It's like they refined it. They refined the service to him.
They worshiped Satan. If you remember in the Bible where it said to worship Jesus, they turned it around and turned it into obeisance to Jesus and worship to Satan.
Right. They're J God.
What you got to do, Sharon, is just turn it all around. And, listen, I totally have. What you hear is, what you hear in my voice is the passion. Yeah, I was 53. They worshiped, I know from fact, the 60s, 70s, 80s, and I left in 1987, the year my dad died. I got baptized 4 months after he died, and that was only because I promised him I would. That was the only reason why I did. And then 4 months later, I was gone. But the thing is that these people only worship Satan. Satan is Satan. Now, I don't know how it is today with the Watchtower and what they say. I can't even fathom walking into a Kingdom Hall. I can't.
Oh no, I wouldn't be able to. No, me either.
Makes me sick to my stomach. I can't even go on their website. I get nauseous. I get lightheaded. It's like, no, I can't deal with this. But the Watchtower is so demonic that they actually worship Satan. And the further you can get away from it, even in your thoughts, the better off you're going to be. I mean, you got to obliterate this from your memory. You really have to. You have to start brand new.
The only reason I'm even bringing up what happened to me is to further people knowing that in spite of all that horror, in spite of, I feel the Watchtower works full time with extra hours, let's say, to get people away from God. That is their job.
Definitely.
That's their job.
It's the work
Because
of
when
faith.
you leave, you either you find Christ and you look the way the Bible says, you search for me and you'll find me.
Exactly.
That's what's being prevented from a lot of people. A lot.
And that in itself, right there, is a statement in itself. You don't have no room for anything else.
No, not with all the roads that I have gone down to try to find the comfort that's been missing from my life, because I want a relationship with my Father in heaven. And they took that too. They took our Bible, the loving letter he wrote to us, and they corrupted it. They corrupted it.
Yeah, no.
If you look at the original writings, all the things missing from the New World Translation, the King James Version, there are things missing that would help us today. The King James Version, I will give you a specific. Ephesians 6:12. Where is our fight? Not just with flesh and blood, right? Right? Not just with flesh and blood. Follow where I'm going with this, because the Watchtower is guilty of this also.
Well, Sharon, what we'll do here is we're going to do I got a whole recording.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've got a whole recording on that.
Yeah, I get past. You passed it.
That's okay. So, okay, go ahead, caller. What did you want to say to Sharon? Go ahead.
I mean, you can look at anything in the Bible that they've added words to, like the word other, when it comes to, well, Jesus created other and this and that. But the thing is Sharon, look at the other side. They haven't taken anything away from you. As long as you seek Jesus, you're going to find him. Don't look at the perspective that they've taken it away from you, because they can't. They can't.
No, I'm saying the written word that is available to be read. That's what I mean when I say they've taken, because King James did it first. And then the New World Translation did it again. Every time they revised the Father's word, they removed stuff. Why I was bringing up Ephesians 6:12 was because King James Version, okay, Ephesians 6:12, we fight not just against flesh and blood, but the higher powers, the principalities. And the last thing, 3 little words that King James removed. He didn't like him in the Geneva Bible. So he took it out of his version. And worldly governments, Watchtower makes sure they know that. They won't go to the worldly governments because they know about those 3 words missing. We were not told. We were not told.
We know what they do when it comes to scriptures. I mean, they leave a lot out. But, Sharon, I just wish the best for you. And
thank you so much. I miss the best for you too.
You have a complete turnaround, and
I definitely have. Seriously,
whatever's going to happen with Watchtower is going to happen. And these guys, they're evil as sin. And that's you don't have to blame everything on them. Just carry on. Hear what you know. Yeah. They shouldn't even be a part of your life anymore.
Yeah. I so appreciate your concern. Yeah. I so appreciate your concern.
God's going to take care of them.
Yes. The Son of God is going to take care of them. He's the judge, not God.
Earlier about the millstone around the children. We're still children in God's eyes.
Of course we are. Yes.
It doesn't just pertain to little children. We're still children in his eyes. So when they've done their worst damage, they are going to be the ones who carry that millstone and be thrown into the ocean. Yeah, it was earlier in the program who said that. They're the ones who are going to be carrying that millstone.
Yeah, Matthew
So
18:6,
you know what? Don't worry about nothing.
Oh, no.
Get,
I love you. I don't know who you are, but I just love your concern. Because everything that I've been talking about with Rick will show that they are in my past so far. They are so far in my rear view mirror. Hello?
This is
I'm
Donald.
Deborah from
Hold on,
I
Donald.
don't call her that often. But anyway, God bless.
Well, thank
You too.
Thank you, Colin. Look
Hey,
at-
Donald, how are you?
Yeah, hey, I was just saying, I agree right there along with you, Sharon. I said I'm 62 years old. I've been a Christian most all my life, and I love God. I love people, and I wish that the people of Watchtower would get out of that organization. I don't have anything against the people. It's the governing body,
Right.
their rules, their evil that they have. The people can change. If they want to change, they can. They just need to get out from under that
As
religion.
long as you're breathing, you have time to change. Didn't that happen to the thief?
Yeah, including
He was right on the verge of death.
Yeah, including the governing body. They could change.
But yet the governing body just made that new light. It's been in the Bible all along.
Yeah.
We just didn't look at it. We believed them.
Yeah.
Instead of letting the scriptures speak to themselves. Because if you put the scriptures against secular history, scriptures are going to win.
Yeah.
Check out Deuteronomy 34. Check out the geography where that actually is.
Oh yeah. And where Watchtower keeps saying that Jesus rose spiritually, he rose physically.
The Bible don't say spiritually.
All right, listen, folks. We got
Daddy.
to hold on 1 second. We're gonna have that whole discussion is going to be put on tape with the Bible discussion, Sharon.
Gotcha.
So
Sorry, Rick.
we can't go too deep. Can't go too deep on Saturday night. Yep. All right. So okay, let's bring
That's
on.
right. Saturday. Okay.
Yes, that's the problem. As much as I like to bring it up, but what it does is we have a lot of people coming in here, and I'm not trying to totally satisfy the people who don't believe in God, but on Saturday night, that's what we do. But
Right.
You have a whole platform, and you'll be able to talk about that till the cows come home, Sharon. Let's go with that Dallas in there. Dallas, that you?
Well, hi there.
Hey, Dallas. How are you tonight?
It's great hearing from your story, but it's such a sad story that we're hearing right there. It is sad.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. But that was their job. That was their job to do that to each and every one of us, to break our spirit, to make us slaves. I mean, what does Dan say all the time? Good for nothing slaves. That's how they see us. That's how they want us to stay.
The break our will is what it is.
You got it. Like we break a horse.
And also, their rules. It's exactly like Sharia law.
Good one, Chalice. Without the headscarf.
And without the stoning and such things as that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I against this call, I've said every cuss word under the sun against it. I have. Even though
I like the Watchtower to North Korea.
More like Afghanistan. More like Afghanistan.
Little bit of each, because they're a potpourri religion.
Well, there you go, Dallas. Well, listen, I just want to make a comment here. A person was asking what the Saturday night rule was. I see it in chat. In the 20 years of doing this show, well, what we do is we don't get too deep into the scriptures, and because what it is, friends. Well, when we all first left the Watchtower, there's been so many people have been so traumatized from from the Watchtower, spiritually traumatized. So when they're first getting out, we got a lot of people coming out. They go bonkers. They feel like they're getting out of one cult into another when you give them the scriptures. And even though I love the scriptures, I love what Sharon says too, but we just can't discuss it. But that's what the Saturday night rule is. We don't really preach on Saturday night. They were asking in chat. So we don't preach on Saturday night. Once in a while, scriptures will come up. But on Sunday, not tomorrow, but every other Sunday, we get into theological discussion. We discuss the scriptures. Let's go with 312 Chicago. You're on with us.
Hopefully you guys can hear me okay.
Yes.
Karen, I wanted to thank you for coming on.
You're welcome.
And giving us your experience, and I'm so sorry that you went through the things that you did. I just wanted to take a couple seconds and say my brain's astir right now because you used the expression not too long ago, death cult. And I was listening to I don't want to say fantastic, but I don't know what the word is, but an amazing interview just yesterday on a ex-witness YouTube channel called Laura X Timber, all one phrase, Laura, the letter X, Timber. And she interviewed a born-in named Daniel Young, who's now an older gentleman. And he went on to talk about all the atrocities that he endured, and that Bethel, all the way up to the governing body and the legal department, was fully aware because he was calling them, and this went to court and all kinds of things. But he mentioned at one point that he went to see a psychologist or child psychologist, and you saw two. One who was a Jehovah's Witness, who of course did nothing but anything anybody was going through. And then he saw a non-Jehovah's Witness psychologist. And the non-Jehovah's Witness psychologist went on to say that he had many clients who were Jehovah's Witnesses, and he knew about the abuse and how these kids were being, molested, and nothing was done. And then he made the startling statement that ties directly into what you said. He said that Watchtower practiced ritual child sacrifice. Now, I've only heard that used once in relation to Watchtower, and that was on this show, and that was probably a few years ago now. But this psychologist said that to this individual, that he knew that Watchtower practiced ritual child sacrifice. Then he came back later and told him that he shouldn't have told him that. But in any event, he said that. But that just tied back into what you said earlier about the death cult. And then when Pixie got on and she was talking about this practice in Moloch of sacrificing children. And the psychologist, not only did he say Watchtower practiced it, but I guess that the young man, Daniel, was so shocked by hearing that he said, why does that amaze you? The nation of Israel practice ritual child sacrifice. And that's what that expression is in the Bible, of making your children pass through the fire. So the point that I'm making, and then when you tie that back to what you just said about how Watchtower really is a demonic, devilish cult, because these are the very same practices that they have now with the blood policy and all the rest. They try to break up families, as you said. They molest children and they won't do a thing about it. They basically want people to die when they could have easily had life-saving surgery, like you talked about with your grandchild. This organization really is a demonic, devilish organization, and you can see why when people go through the things that you went through, the things this young man went through, and a lot of the other listeners out there, Watchtower does nothing about it, because this is really what they're all about. They're all about these satanic practices. So your story just blew me away. The story that I heard, and this was just yesterday that this came on. If anybody wants to hear it, it's worth taking the listening to. But this organization really is a death cult, and it's a demonic, satanic cult. Thanks, Sharon.
Yeah, you're welcome. You know what's really scary is when Watchtower was in me, my husband had some serious health problems, and they were giving him albumin. And I came into the room one day when he was in the hospital, and I stopped for a second because I knew what albumin was, but it wasn't red. So it didn't hit me like that. And I said to him, You are so lucky that is white, because if that was red, I would have ripped it out of your arm. And I think back on that. How crazy was I? How insane that I didn't care about his health. You were putting something red in your body, it's coming out. I don't care. And yet, the moment I knew, I woke up that I was no longer a JW, that it was not in me, was when my daughter was in her last days from brain cancer. And he said she wanted me to be her healthcare proxy. And she looked at me and she goes, Mom, if I need a blood transfusion, I didn't even blink an eye. I said, if you need a blood transfusion, you're getting it. Who am I to prevent you from getting one more day of life? Who am I? You fought 9 years and I'm going to stop you from another day. I don't think so. And it was that moment I felt like 200 pounds was lifted off my shoulders.
Exactly. I agree.
Because it was the flip side. I would have killed her father.
Yeah.
But on the same principle, I would have saved her. And that was when I knew you're not a JW. That was the moment.
Yeah, I agree with you. Awesome.
Did 602 want to come on?
Someone else can talk.
Did 602 want to come on? Come on 602.
Hey, Rick, how you doing?
I'm good.
Hey, this thing about calling the Jehovah's, the governing body, demonic and stuff. Hey, my brother Jesse and I, we talk about this subject a lot. And just to keep it very simple, there's two accounts that, when you get older, two accounts in the Bible that when you get older, you realize that, oh my God, it's true. Like in the very, very beginning, God said to Adam and Eve that the seed, that one, that there was going to be enmity between the two seeds. So all throughout human history, there's two types of people. And when I would come home from the Kingdom Hall, Dad would come home from the Fraternal Order of Eagles, the bar, and he would tell us, it's my turn to teach you about the Bible. And he would say, there's two types of people in this world, grateful and ungrateful. Now go to bed. But the phrase, there's two types of people, it really is true. There is night and day, day and night. There's, hot and cold and so forth. So fast forward, and now Jesus comes into the picture, and he talks about two seeds, one that grows to find fruit, right? The wheat and the weeds. So there's two. So what my brother Jesse and I, we talk about is that as human beings, we should never condemn another human being by name. Now the organization you can, but to say something like Anthony Morris is a demon, no, because the Apostle Paul was a murderer, killing Christians, and
thank you for that correction. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right. I have to calm down on that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, go ahead and take notes, because Nicodemus also was a member of the governing body, kind of like Raymond France. So so all throughout history, there's been experiences of people that were in the dark side, but they really were human. Now, this is the sad part, and this is where you want to take note with your pen and paper. The sad truth, Rick, is that some of our friends that we grew up with, they're not human.
Exactly.
Now, I don't know how this happened. I don't know if they gave up their soul. I don't know if they were born without. We don't know.
Or sold into it by their parents.
Yeah, we don't know the details. But it takes a lot of courage to believe that among us are aliens. They're not human, like made in the image of God. How that happened, I don't know. Now we should never accuse anybody of it because we don't know. But we are living in a world, planet Earth, where a good portion of the people, half the people, are not. They're lizard people. My brother Jesse and I would call them lizard people. They're not human. And
yeah, the Native Americans call them the ant people.
They lack empathy.
It is sad. Now, just because these people lack empathy or whatever, it doesn't mean that they haven't woken up or they're not that Jesus is not going to wake them up like he did the Apostle Paul. I will never go down that road. Now, the governing body as a whole, the institution, yeah, that's totally different. The Bible gives us all the power to go after corporations. Yeah, they're free game. But human beings are different. And
how do we know they're human? We ought to condemn them, though.
Legally, they have malice. Legally, they have malice. They know they're hurting, and they do it with malice.
Right, they do it purposely.
And they're not human. They're not. Those are the non-human people. Because King Solomon talked about that, where people, they would laugh at your suffering. There's a group of human beings that, like the demons, when they see you suffer, they laugh. They literally laugh. And here's the thing: this is the morality thing about sex. While we all know there's a lot of gay sex happening in Bethel, they laugh because they're putting restrictions on everybody else. See, that's demonic. They can have all the gay sex they want on the down low, and we hear it all on YouTube, all the things that they do. That's fine. But they laugh that they lord over you the denial of sexual pleasure.
Well, you know, I heard on a YouTube video one time where a witness had refused a blood transfusion, and the hospital liaison committee was there, and as soon as that person died, the liaison committee smiled.
Yeah, exactly. Now
they were smiling.
Wow.
And
I think that's why why we're told to be kind to everybody, because we don't know if we're entertaining angels.
Correct. And Jesus specifically talked about how you break the law. And even in our Constitution, even in our laws, if you break the law in order to save a human life, the judge and the jury will have mercy on you. And Jesus says, how many of you would not go into a ditch and on the Sabbath and rescue your animals, right? That have fallen into a ditch on the Sabbath. So what person could actually tell God that you're guilty of accepting blood? Well, no, hold on. You accepted blood. You broke the law. Okay. But you did it to save your life. Jesus specifically addressed this issue. You broke the law of the Sabbath, but you saved the life of an animal. Well,
mercy, not sacrifice.
No, but wouldn't it be more appropriate to break the law of the blood to save a human life? So
yes.
So you can still have respect for the blood, but you also have to have respect for life, and that's where Watchtower is wrong. But the point going back is that you have to have the courage to believe that some of our brothers and sisters are not human. They are of the other seed. They are of the wheat and the weeds. And
yeah, I really think that Rick is right about holding this off, because I have too many scriptures to go against what you're saying here. And like Rick said, we can't do it here because I don't want to turn anybody off to any kind of research, even if it's biblical research. So I think seriously we should get off this subject.
No, but I'm not going to the biblical side.
No, I know, but bringing this up, I'm looking at the comments and we're freaking people out.
No, I know, but the point is that you never, ever accuse another human being of being demonic. The corporation is demonic. The Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Pennsylvania and New York is demonic. Now, whether individual members are, we don't know who they are. Hopefully there's Nicodemus. Hopefully there's Raymond Francis among them. And that's what hopefully the Six Screens does when we know Watchtower listens in. We know that there's Nicodemuses and the Apostle Paul's in Watchtower. They're good people. They just need to escape. So that would be my only thing about, I agree with you, they're demonic, but we're not going to name them by names because that's...
Yeah, it's kind of hard when you were raised with a woman who did what she did. It's very hard not to call somebody demonic. It's very, very hard.
I agree with you.
And I got to work on that.
Yeah, that's why you pray.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot.
It's very hard.
That personality thing. I've seen a lot that have that, where the personality is multiple and split.
Yeah.
And
some of them enjoy hurting.
And now they have a new term for it. But I've seen where you try to have a conversation with a person that's a very good witness to the letter of the law, and all of a sudden you're talking to someone else.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go back to. I'm going to go back to.
One time I ran away, and I ran to my grandmother's house, and I was talking with her, and her face changed. It got like blurry, and her voice got really, really deep. And she said, "Your mother's coming for you, but I'm not going to let you go to her." And my mother came for me, and something grabbed my hand and made me hold on to the. She lived in Queens, Jamaica. So, you know, they had the houses with those old-fashioned radiator pipes that would go through the ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
My hands were on that pipe, and I felt something grab my feet, and I could not let go of the pipe. And my mother was like standing there, and she's yelling at me, "Your angel's getting in the car with me. It's going to leave you in this house of Satan," and blah, blah, blah. I couldn't let go. And she kept calling the J guys, kept calling. That didn't work because my hands were stuck. They were not being released until my mother pulled out of the driveway. Then I was released, almost like with a push, like, now you can get away.
Well, Sharon, no doubt, no doubt, you have experienced things in the witness world that have really been traumatic to you. And as the sister even said earlier, we're all hoping the best that you can get through all of this. Now, I want people to know that Sharon has been able to at least find some peace in her life. Sharon has been able to find some solace. She and my wife and I, we talked this week. Sharon has, it's a program, and not a program, but at least it's a narrative that she came up with that she'd like to have you hear. Now, if you would like to hear more of what Sharon's deep feelings are concerning not just the Watchtower, but concerning the Bible. Well, she last night recorded on my SoundCloud. I have a SoundCloud channel, and she recorded an hour and a half narrative on the position that she now takes since she's left the Watchtower. Now, we recorded it last night. It's got to be transformed. It was a video file. Now we have to make it into an audio file. So by Monday night, it will be up on Rick Farron's SoundCloud. Now, if you have more thoughts on this and you want to, did you want to give your email, Sharon, or you want them to come to JW World News?
No, I think I'll give it here, Rick, because I think because of the subject we can't get here. And even on the Sunday program, it may be a little bit too deep because I've been in the corners that nobody wants to go into. And I made this choice to go down this road. And now since I'm on this road, I have lost some friends because they think I'm crazy. But the ones who I grew up with, they don't think I'm crazy. Matter of fact, yesterday, Rick, before I did that thing yesterday, two girls that I grew up with that have known me since I am 6 years old. They didn't talk to me since November because, you know, life gets in the way. And I was telling them and I was reminding them of stuff like when we were kids and growing up. And I said to them what I want to tell other people about. And they were like, wow. And I asked them point blank, did I ever preach to you when I was a kid? All the years you know me up until November that just passed, have I ever preached to you? And they were like, no, you never did. That's not your style. So then I asked them, I said, what about my research? And the one was, oh my God, you don't stop. You just keep going. I never hear the end of your research. They know me. And then I asked them both, if I was to tell you something, how would you take it? And then I proceeded to tell them what we've been talking about, Rick and Susan. And they were like, wow, for you to tell us, it's very important. Because they know me. I never preached to them. Never had a Bible study. For me to even put myself out, for this. It is so difficult because I did not want to do this, but now I am impelled and I just can't stop. And the way I referred to it before was the Black Ice event. And I'm going to put it for those who live in the South who don't know how to drive in the snow. When you have a snowstorm, the roads get cleared. All right. Sometimes you get salt, sometimes you don't. Now, let's say you're having a bunch of people over to your house for dinner, and the roads are clear. There is no reports of anything on the roads. You run down to the store. Everything's fine. On your way back, though, you hit a patch of black ice. You know the road. You know that you should pull over to the center line just to get past that rock because that's where the dip is. That's where you'll fall into the ditch. So you move over. You get home. You and your spouse are talking. Oh, God, there's black ice on the road. All your friends are coming to your home. None of them have been on that road. Only you know what happened at that spot. Are you going to sit there and say, well, they didn't report it. Maybe the black ice will go away, even though it's below freezing out. Well, you're going to get on that phone, you're going to call every one of them and tell them, when you get to a certain spot, you got to move over. Whether or not you were a JW and you know the signs of the garbage that they have done, you're still going to put yourself out there because you know it's important for people to know and to keep digging and keep digging until they get down to it and see exactly not only what Watchtower has done to us, but this entire system, what they have done. Between medicine, school, politics. Each one of them are designed to destroy families, and they're doing a good job. And you got to get all the way down to find out why. And when you do, you can't keep it to yourself. You
Well,
just
give him
can't.
your email, Sharon. Give him your email.
It's all lowercase, Adams with an S, Heather 159 at yahoo.com. And in the subject box, please put XJW info. There you go.
All right, good. Well, listen, that's good, Sharon. You came on. That'll be up Monday, so people will be able to listen to it if they want to get in there and listen to it. And then talk to Sharon, email her. She'd love to talk to you about it. But listen to what she has to say in there, and follow through with it. Sharon has been really traumatized by the Watchtower organization, and there's plenty of people listening into this program tonight that also have been traumatized. And, we're all trying to find our way to deal with it. We're all trying to find our way back home, so to speak. So, everyone, we really appreciate you coming in. We appreciate Sharon coming on tonight. Thank you, Sharon, very much.
Thank you, Sharon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem, guys. I'll be talking to you. Good night.
Good night, Sharon. Hold on, Don.
Can you give me your email address real slow? I'm a blind individual, so I'm using. Yeah, I'm using a screen reader on my computer to type it in, and you were kind of fast on your email.
I'm sorry. I talk so fast. I'll go really slow. It's ADAMS.
Okay.
HEHETER 1 5 9 at Yahoo.com.
Okay, let me get. Okay, I think I got it. Adams. Adams Heather. 1 5 9 at yahoomail.com, right? Or yahoo.com.
Just yahoo.com. Yes.
Yeah, yahoo.com, I mean, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I got it.
All right. If someone wants to get it from me, just write me at JW World News, and I'll email it back to you. jwworldnews@gmail.com, and I'll mail you Sharon's email. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, guys. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, I wanted to bring
Hi,
up.
Susan.
Good night, everybody. In fact, we're not leaving yet. We're going to hear for a few more minutes. But I wanted to bring up. I've been noticing at the outset of the program tonight, JW World News, we talked about a man named Chewy, and Chewy has called into this program numerous times. He's contacted me at least, well, in the last couple of years, he's been calling me at least once or twice a week, and we talk about the trek that he's been having. He is a former Jehovah's Witness. His wife is still a witness. But I noticed there was a number of people in here tonight in chat that were writing about Chewy past. Now, I want to try to get that confirmed. Maverick, are you listening in here tonight? I couldn't see all of the chat. Well, what have you got from the chat here tonight? Can you hear me, Maverick? I'm not sure Maverick can hear me still. But and anyways, great. In fact, there's a Jason in there. In fact, a number of people have been writing that Chewy has passed. I'm just trying to get that
Hi,
confirmed.
Rick. Sorry,
Yeah, that's okay, Maverick. Have you been watching the chat here tonight? Yeah.
Yeah. Jason Nazario 1242 earlier said that he was a good friend of Chewy, and he says he died. It was in his own hands, and he wants to call next week. Hopefully, he can get a chance to talk about him.
Yeah, very good. So that he was I was noticing that Jason Nazario. Okay, so we do. It's hard to really.
He was in the mobile chat. He was in the mobile chat, not in the main one. On the main, there's two chats going on.
Oh, right. We have the device and the landscape. Yeah. All
Did
right.
he leave his email address?
I don't recall. No, he just basically commented saying that he can confirm that that he's passed, and it was his friend, and he wants to come in next week and talk about it if he can. That's all I saw from the chat.
All right. Well, thank you, Maverick. Yeah, that's.
So yeah.
I couldn't see it all, but we'll talk about this next week, and we certainly hope that didn't happen, but it appears as though it may have. We can't totally confirm it, but I did call Chewy. I got wind today. Someone did call me. They weren't really sure of it, and because Chewy was just on a month ago, not even that, I think maybe 3 weeks ago, he was on quite well. His wife went to the convention, and he came on and get an opportunity to talk to us. So he told us whole story about being in Bethel. But we'll I tried to call him today. And
hi, Rick.
yes,
This is Joe and Fran.
yes,
Can you hear us?
yes, we can. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So we had heard, and we had heard it from one person, so we verified it. And from the person that they heard it from, the person that called you at 6:00, they knew Chewy very well. And yes, he did pass away. He unfortunately took his life for another one that has done that.
Boy, that seems so unusual. That seems so unusual.
When was that now?
Apparently it happened last Saturday, and his wife found him. And his wife is a Jehovah's Witness, and they live in Oklahoma. And we spoke with Chewy, I don't know, a couple of years ago on the phone.
Yeah, he came on the program, I'd say 3 weeks, a month ago. And he called me. In fact, he'd call me 2, 3, 4 times a week sometimes. And he was a Mexican man and very, very straightforward with his feeling about the Watchtower. He did not like it, and very friendly man. And just like I say, a month or so ago, he gave his whole story about being in Bethel and how where he worked at Bethel, what's going on in his life now. I know he worked for the Home Depot. And the last conversation I had with him is I believe he told me he got laid off or they didn't need him to work anymore. That might have hurt him as well. He was a very innovative man. He came up with his own coffee brewing system. He was telling me about. He was very friendly, very he had a good personality. He really did. I mean, seriously, I liked him a lot. He would get right to the point with what he was talking about. And geez, that saddened me. In fact, all day long, I was kind of concerned about that and even worried about it. I called him a couple of times, but it said that his voicemail was not set up.
Right.
So
Yeah. So the person that called you, he knew Chewy very well.
yeah, now they say a person called me.
No.
I don't recall talking to someone. I've been talking to so many people here tonight.
Oh,
Yeah.
Fran, someone called me and I called Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was a female that called me.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Yeah.
you probably know who that is, so I just don't want to throw names around.
Right. That's okay. Yeah. No, we don't know. That's okay. Yeah. No, we confirmed it. And also in the chat, yes, there's been a lot of suicides in the last month. Austin Williams, we knew about him, and Culty Talk, we've known her. So yes, those are all confirmed. And there, if anyone listens to XJW Diary with Justin put out a very short video about the ones that just took their lives, and he named names, and so you can go to his channel, and Joe's right here too.
Yeah, hi. And incidentally, we've had some open and frank conversations about friends, the people that we know that have had feelings and thoughts about suicide. And we found that, and people have been showing that it's relieving for them to be able to openly discuss these kind of feelings that anyone and every one of us can have about suicide. Just because we have feelings about it doesn't mean we're interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something that's common to most people who go through difficulty. The reality is that, unfortunately, some are pressured to the point where they personally feel that that's their option. But the biggest point that we've seen is that the Watchtower is putting people in a position of extreme pressure and stress that seems to pressure people into a situation where they do things that are rash. And this is something, the more that it's exposed, the more that pressure is going to will bear on Watchtower for the inordinate pressure that they put on people with shunning and the isolation that goes along with it. It's more deadly than people understand, and we're finding that out. And I think, unfortunately, we're going to continue to find it out.
Well said. Well said, Joe. I mean, shunning, really, when you stop and think about it, it is a devastating practice. It completely fractures relationships, and it serves as a form of social and psychological punishment when you stop and think about it.
Yeah.
It fractures.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Honestly, I think it's at the point where they're basically, what Watchtower has done is a crime against humanity. And with the evidence that just unfortunately keeps coming in, it's becoming more clear that it's an absolute crime against people. And I think we're going to see more and more exposure.
Well, you stop and think about it, Joe and Fran. And I know your own family is more or less even doing it to you. And you guys are strong enough and fighting the fight, so to speak. But, to actively ignore a family member, that's treating them, as the Watchtower would say, treat them as they're dead, cutting off all emotional, social, and physical support. That's our life. That's the very essence of life, is to have family members, to have emotional and social support. But that all goes when one is
Hey, Rick,
just
can I jump in there just for a moment real quick?
Yeah, who's this? Oh, this is Seth. Go ahead,
This
Seth.
is Seth.
Go ahead. Yep.
Yeah. I just want to reach out to anyone. I've struggled with feelings lately that shouldn't be, a lot of people shouldn't have. Reach out. I encourage anyone to reach out to somebody else, someone else in this chat, someone else who you can reach out. I talked to Joe and Fran a little bit. I talked to a few others a little bit. I use that 988 number, and I encourage everyone, call 988 if you can. Things happen. Please just reach out if you're feeling any way, whether you think you're going to act on something or not, whether your mind is twirling from things of Watchtower. To be quite honest, Watchtower messed us all up. That's why I think I'm doing a shameless plug here. I will say KH Chronicles. That's why it's so good. We can laugh a little bit, but also we can vent, we can talk, and so and all of us together, we are all each other's support group. So we may have disagreements among each other, but help us come together, use the resources, reach out, and talk to one another.
Well, amen to that, Seth. No, thank you for saying that. And I'll tell you what, right now, life is tough enough. Life really is tough right now for a lot of people. Just dealing with the high cost of everything: food, rent, insurance, phone bills. It's overwhelming. And then you have family members that shun you in the Watchtower. That you need support when you're going through difficult times in life. You all need a little support. We all need a little uplifting. And it's, if all your friends were Jehovah's Witnesses and now you're cut off from them, it's going to be emotionally upsetting. So it can send people over the edge. And thank you for saying that, Seth, because having anyone talk to you, talk to you at that point can be comforting, or at least get you back to thinking straight again, because a person can go over the deep end very, very quickly. Well, that's sad news. I hated to hear that, but I will go with it. That I guess Chewy has passed away, and very, very difficult to think about. It's sad. It's very sad. He was so friendly and so nice, and it's hard.
You mentioned a job loss, Rick, that he may have lost his job at Home Depot. That certainly could be an additional factor that could drive someone over the edge.
Oh, yeah. And then not having, how do you really discuss it? All of his friends, in fact, he still had many friends, he told me, that were still witnesses. And they kind of, they didn't really shun him or anything. I don't believe he was ever, in fact, he wasn't even disfellowshipped. He wasn't. But he just was feeling so, well, let me put it this way to you. He called me up about 2 months ago. He says, Rick, I've got good news for you. I said, what do you got, Chewy? He told me that his wife was starting to at least question the Watchtower. She was at least listening to him a little. And it brought such joy to him. He could hardly wait to tell me. And then he called me back a week later and said the same thing. Rick, I think she's starting to wake up. And it was so meaningful to him. And then the last time I told him, he said, well, she's doing, somewhat better as far as thinking about getting out of the Watchtower. But that's when he told me about was the job loss, Home Depot let him go or something like that. And I guess it kind of really, it put
Rick,
yeah.
Can
Can I? There's something that works here. The society knows what they're doing. See, there's one thing called going no contact. In other words, if there's something going on in your family and someone's very toxic, and if you personally choose to avoid that person, that's your choice. That's you're protecting yourself. What the society is doing, the society actually legislates shunning. They legislate this forced isolation, which puts people in this situation. And just as an example, we have 4 children. If one of the children chooses to have contact with us, by rights, the other 3 are to shun that child. And if they don't, pressure is going to be brought to bear on them by the other members of the congregation. Watchtower enforces this. They legislate this. It's already built into the system, and this happens. Well, the person that's shunned, for example, Chewy in this case, or anyone else, undergoes this kind of grief. It's like a continual grief from being shunned by his wife, whoever else. Now, let's say his wife was getting somewhat more open. Don't you think that the rest of the people in the congregation were catching on to that, and then more pressure gets on her, and now she doubles down? The Watchtower knows what they're doing. The only protection against this is when anyone who is being shunned, it feels isolated. It's so important that they keep an open conversation with others, letting them know how difficult it is for them, the grief that they're going through, and even the feelings that they might have. See, the person might purposely not disclose how bad it is because they're under the impression that they're going to be excessively worried about. But the reality is we need to be able to listen to these conversations. We need to understand that it's normal. It really is normal for a person to wish themselves gone under those circumstances because it's so painful. Well, the solution isn't to be gone. The solution is to share it and to listen to it and to just be more open to it. The society knows, the Watchtower knows that the shunning remains powerful because the people that are being shunned avoid speaking about the grief that they have because they're afraid that it's going to put other people on edge.
You're spot on, Joe, but the only thing, that's where many of the witnesses who have left can be a sounding board for other people that have left, because I had a dear Methodist neighbor, and I've been out a long time, and I tried to explain shunning to her. Mm-hmm. The worldly people can't understand that this is not a one-day church discipline. They don't have a file card on it.
No, they don't. No, what we've been finding is very good responses with the people that are in our Zooms that are sharing what they are going through internally. In other words, they're sharing their thoughts of suicide. That doesn't mean they're going to. It just means that's what they feel like because of the intensity of the grief.
Well, I'm not that tight, but one thing I did notice recently, some of these modern medicines, even GLP-1, have that ideation as a side effect for some people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. So true. It's the open disclosure and conversation with each other who understands what we're going through is so beneficial. It's so beneficial.
Certainly is.
It's strengthening. That's what we found. It's strengthening.
Yeah, and I want to bring up another thing as you're talking here too, Joe. It got me thinking. The witnesses have no feeling, compassion, empathy, nothing.
No, they don't.
But nothing
No,
about
they
it. In fact, it doesn't even have to be a disfellowship person. If it's a person that doesn't come to the meetings anymore. But just imagine the scenario here. So you have a man that lost his job, and he can't really confide in the witnesses because he knows the answer he's going to get. Well, if you still were with Jehovah would see to it that you got a better job or whatever. He knows he can't talk to them and get some reasonable thought. So it even complicates the matter. You never want to, if you're not going to the meetings anymore, you can't go and discuss your difficulties with a Jehovah's Witness. You're not going to get any encouragement there, I'll tell you that.
No, it's so important that each individual exposes themselves to others who can listen, who can sit with them, who can understand and not overreact.
Rick, I don't know if you remember when Joe and I first came on, and we had a show with you,
Yes.
and one of the first ones were about suicide. And remember, we had so many people call in and comment how they were at that point in their life, but they did not. Obviously, they were not successful with it. We had 2 shows on that. It was titled "Suicide in the Watchtower," and it is a really big problem. And I think more people need to talk about it openly. And that we're here, and people are here for each other. And I know you and Susan are, and I know others are too. So we just want to remind people of that. You're not alone.
Well, thank you, Fran. No, I do remember that. And boy, we did get a lot of people calling in that said they actually tried it, and more than you would think. It's got to be, that this is, I like what Sharon, the lady that was on a little earlier, it's it's a death cult. It really, really is. It's a good term for it. People die left and right. And you don't really, it's something that there's no law against it. That's the problem. There's no law against shunning. I mean, I tried so hard to get a local congressman here in Boston years ago to look into the shunning of the witnesses. But he says, it's not against the law to shun someone. But the witnesses take it to the nth degree. They really do.
I know. Yep. Well, there's more exposure now than there has been.
The exposure, the free exposure, the just is like sunlight to the darkness that the Watchtower is working. And that when they keep that in darkness, the isolation, when it's in darkness, it leaves the individual feeling powerless. But the more it's openly exposed, freely spoken about among each other, it strengthens. It is strengthening and allows the person to get beyond the episode, because those feelings are they're episodic. In other words, they only last a little while. And if you can get through that little while with understanding and seeing clearly through it, you get beyond it. You get beyond the danger. And the free and open discussion helps the person get beyond that episode.
For me, Joe, living well is the best revenge.
I'm sorry, what was that, Pixie?
I said, for me, living well is the best revenge.
Yes, it's true.
Oh, yes.
It's true.
They told us from the podium that if we ever left, we would become reprobates, addicts, hoochies, and end our lives. And if we can live well and be healthy and live as long as possible, that's the best revenge.
Yeah, it's true.
And we need to help each other to do that.
Yes.
Well, you guys said it well. Now, what we'll do next week is I'm gonna bring up some of the happy moments I had with Chewy. I'll go back and dig out some of the tapes. In fact, just a month ago, and then play a little excerpt. And geez, you're such a happy-go-lucky. You never know. That's
I know.
who you never know what people are thinking. I can't believe it. I'm still really kind of walking around here in a daze, saying what? Because he's one of the last persons I would ever think would do something like that. But you never know, like you guys say. Well, thank you, Fran. Thank you, Joe, Pixie, all those guys, Donald, and all those that commented here
You're
tonight.
welcome. Thank you, Rick.
Yeah, and what we'll do is now remember the after party comes after this. So we won't call it the party tonight, but the after show after what we just talked about. So the after show tonight will be right on. You see that number scrolling across the bottom of YouTube and Facebook. We have a program here where it's not going to be recorded. It's not on Facebook. It's just a bunch of ex-witnesses talking, letting their hair down, talk about anything you want. But remember, be civil and don't beat up on everybody in there. Be nice and kind. And remember also you use *6, that unmutes you, and then try to, at least hold your hand over the receiver or hit *6 again to mute you. So there's not a lot of static and noise all over the place. So thank you everyone for coming in tonight. I don't want you to ever give in, give up, or out, and never let your visions die. And the last one, leaving the Watchtower, please turn off the new light. Susan, did you want to say anything?
Thank you all for supporting us. We appreciate it.
All right, we'll see you next week. No 6 Screen Sunday. We'll see you next week, beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for spending your night with us here at the 6 Screens.